I don't think the charge was at all justified. For the life of me, I don't see that there is the slightest exotic spirit in the conception or style of that novel. It is certainly the most tropical of my Eastern tales. The mere scenery got a great hold on me as I went on, perhaps because, I may just as well confess that, the story itself was never very near my heart. It engaged my imagination much more than my affection. As to my regard for Willems, it was but the regard one cannot help having for one's own creation. Obviously I could not be indifferent to a man on whose head I had brought so much evil simply by imagining him such as he appears in the novel, and that too on a very slight foundation. The man who suggested Willems to me was not particularly interesting in himself. My interest was aroused by his dependent position, his strange dubious status of a mistrusted, disliked, worn-out European living on the reluctant toleration of that settlement hidden in the heart of the forest land up that sombre stream which our ship was the only white men's ship to visit. With his hollow, clean-shaved cheeks, a heavy grey moustache, and eyes without any expression whatsoever, clad always in a spotless sleeping suit, much befrogged in front, which left his lean neck wholly uncovered, and with his bare feet in a pair of straw slippers, he wandered silently amongst the houses in daylight, almost as dumb as an animal, and apparently much more homeless. I don't know what he did with himself at night. He must have had a place, a hut, a palm-leaf shed, some sort of hovel where he kept his razor and his change of sleeping suits. An air of futile mystery hung over him, something not exactly dark, but obviously ugly. The only definite statement I could extract from anybody was that it was he who had brought the Arabs into the river. That must have happened many years before. But how did he bring them into the river? He could hardly have done it in his arms like a lot of kittens. I knew that Almayer founded the chronology of all his misfortunes on the date of that fateful advent, and yet the very first time we dined with Almayer, there was Willems sitting at table with us in the manner of a skeleton at the feast, obviously shunned by everybody, never addressed by anyone, and for all recognition of his existence getting now and then from Almayer a venomous glance which I observed with great surprise. In the course of the whole evening he ventured one single remark which I didn't catch because his articulation was imperfect, as of a man who had forgotten how to speak. I was the only person who seemed aware of the sound. Willems subsided. Presently he retired, pointedly unnoticed, into the forest, maybe. Its immensity was there, within 300 yards of the veranda, ready to swallow up anything. Almayer, conversing with my captain, did not stop talking while he glared angrily at the retreating back. "Didn't that fellow bring the Arabs into the river?" Nevertheless, Willems turned up next morning on Almayer's veranda. From the bridge of the steamer I could see plainly these two breakfasting together, tete-a-tete, and I suppose in dead silence, one with his air of being no longer interested in this world, and the other raising his eyes now and then with intense dislike. It was clear that in those days Willems lived on Almayer's charity. Yet, on returning 2 months later to Zambia, I heard that he had gone on an expedition up the river in charge of a steam launch belonging to the Arabs to make some discovery or other. On account of the strange reluctance that everyone manifested to talk about Willems, it was impossible for me to get at the rights of that transaction. Moreover, I was a newcomer, the youngest of the company, and I suspect not judged quite fit as yet for a full confidence. I was not much concerned about that exclusion. The faint suggestion of plots and mysteries pertaining to all matters touching Almayer's affairs amused me vastly. Almayer was obviously much affected. I believe he missed Willems immensely. He wore an air of sinister preoccupation and talked confidentially with my captain. I would catch only snatches of mumbled sentences. Then one morning, as I came along the deck to take my place at the breakfast table, Almayer checked himself in his low-toned discourse. My captain's face was perfectly impenetrable. There was a moment of profound silence, and then, as if unable to contain himself, Almayer burst out in a loud, vicious tone, "Oh, one thing's certain. If he finds anything worth having up there, they will poison him."